Hey guys, my name is Matsumiyo, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question today comes from Alex, and it is, do you think this should make Rainbow Six free to play? And if it was free, would you see it overtaking other games? Well, I'm not necessarily sure what other games you're referring to. I don't think it would be as big as Fortnite, for example, but I do agree that if they did decide to do this for Rainbow Six Siege, that it would become more popular. One of the great things about going free to play is that there is no initial investment that the player has to make, and so they're more likely to try it out for the very first time. This is the exact reason why Ubisoft does their free weekend every single DLC, because they're trying to get people involved with the game. And it seems to have worked as well. Every single time they did a free weekend was usually at the start of a new DLC, so not only were more people playing the game because of that new content, but then after that, if you look at the Steam charts, it usually maintained that higher player count after that content and that free weekend because, of course, more people are like, hey, this game is amazing, I'm gonna keep playing. And so if they did that same thing, but basically made it free to play forever, I would imagine that, yeah, more people would play, more people would get involved, and the popularity of the game would increase. On top of that, if we kind of think about it, the game already sort of has a free-to-play model. If we take a look at the starter edition, which is $15, which I realize is an entry fee, so it's not necessarily free-to-play, but everything after that mirrors that model. Every single operator is a huge grind. 25,000 renown is a significant time investment. There are, of course, all of the incredible amount of cosmetic items in the game. There is a lot of cosmetic items to choose from. There's the seasonal pass, the seasonal skins, and everything along those lines. And so while, yes, there is that $15 entry fee, everything else really does mirror a lot of other free-to-play games out there. Now, all of that being said, though, I really wouldn't want Ubisoft to go down this direction. At least on PC, I don't think this would affect people too much on console, but the PC side of things, if someone was able to create an account whenever they wanted to, they could cheat to their heart's content. I know that cheating and hacking isn't, like, rampant on PC, but it is a problem. But if people were able to just create an account whenever they wanted to, there was no entry fee whatsoever, they could cheat to their heart's content, and even if they were banned constantly, it wouldn't matter. And so unless Ubisoft was able to find a workaround to this and really improve their anti-cheat system, this would definitely be a big problem that they would have to overcome. Now, one counter argument to this is that if they are just playing on new accounts, they're probably not going to have a lot of operators, and all the unlocks that they got, if they have any investment in that account whatsoever, they're going to lose that, and so maybe that would be one deterrent. But if someone is going out of their way to do this, they probably don't care about how many operators they want. They're going to pick even recruit so they can just kind of mess around and ruin everyone else's experience. And so I don't really know if that would be all that much of a deterrent. And so all in all, while I do see the benefits of going free, and it already seems like the game has this kind of a model, it's for this very reason, at least for the PC side of things, why I do not want this for Rainbow Six Siege. Maybe Ubisoft could do this sometime in the future, in a couple of years, especially if the game, you know, loses traction and they want to have a more larger influx of players to get people back and playing. But hopefully the game will continue to be healthy for many years to come, and that won't be a tactic that Ubisoft needs to employ. The next question comes from Tom, and it is, I was wondering if you think that the TTK should be changed in Battlefield 5, as I've come across many posts and videos suggesting it's going to be changed. Well, at least for me personally, one of the things I've been loving about Battlefield 5 is the TTK, and I do not want them touching that whatsoever. If you're not exactly sure what we're referring to, TTK means time to kill, how long it takes for you to take out another player in this game, and right now, it's incredibly satisfying. It feels really good. It's exactly what I was hoping from a Battlefield game. I think the thing that DICE needs to be focusing on is the TTD, or the time to death, how long it takes for you to get taken out. A lot of times in Battlefield 5, you'll be walking around, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it feels like you got taken out instantaneously, and it feels like you got taken out by a recon. When you actually look at the player that took you down, it was someone who was playing as the support, or someone who was playing as a medic. Their weapons simply do not have the capability of one-shotting you, so it's kind of a head-scratcher. When this happens over and over and over again, you kind of get the picture that the actual netcode and the networking for Battlefield 5 isn't up to the standard that we would be expecting, especially after the stellar performance at the end of Battlefield 4 and the start of Battlefield 1. And so I really think that that is what DICE needs to be focusing on. Thankfully, it seems like that is exactly what DICE is doing with this upcoming patch patch on December 4th. Not only are they going to be improving the medic weapons, which I think is amazing because medic weapons feel a little lackluster right now, at least compared to all of the other classes in the game, but on top of that, they realize that the TTD, the time to death, isn't really in a good place, and they are going to be looking into solutions to try to solve that. And so while I would be very surprised if on the 4th the TTD is completely fixed, I don't think it's going to be a simple solution, they are going to be making some improvements hopefully soon, and it won't be as bad as it is right now. The next question is, in a future patch for Rainbow Six Siege, do you agree that adding a damage body diagram for both people in the kill cam would be useful? I thought it would be similar to the one in Battlefield Hardline that shows the parts of the body that were hit. So if I'm understanding this question properly, basically you would want to have a diagram where on one side it would show what parts of the body the player hit you on. So if they got a bunch of body damage on you, it would show a bunch of, like red dots over their chest. Maybe they hit you in your arm once, and it would kind of give you a good idea of how you got taken out. And I agree. I think that would be actually a really cool addition to the game. But then you also mentioned that there would be a second diagram that would show you how much damage you did against the other player. So if you were on offense, you're going against Zanella. If you swore that you got a headshot or you hit him in the neck, for example, it would actually show you, like, no, you actually hit them, like in the shoulder, or you hit them in the chest, the upper chest, and it was nowhere near their actual face. That could also be a really cool addition into the game. Rainbow Six Siege, as we're all very aware, can be very frustrating, where it looks like you hit someone in the dome, but for some reason you don't get the headshot. If you lose because of that, you're probably not going to be in the best mood. And so if there was this diagram that clearly illustrated, like, no, I realize, yes, it may have looked like you hit him in the head, but it was actually their shoulder, or you hit some other part of their body, that could relay that information, and maybe that would solve a lot of those accusations, or a lot of those hit registration accusations. The only problem that I can think of for this kind of system is that it probably wouldn't really be all that easy to implement. If it was easy, they probably already would have had it in the game. On top of that, I've actually don't think I've ever seen a game that has this kind of dynamic where not only it shows where the player hit you, but where you hit the player that you were trying to take out. Like, how would all of that work? And so while on paper this sounds like it could be really interesting, I know that some people are probably thinking that this is taking things to the extreme. Do we really need to have all that data at our fingertips? Like, that's pushing things too far. And I would agree with that to some extent, but this could be a cool new bit of information that we've never had before that enhances the game. But at the same time, I have no idea how feasible this is and if it's even worth the effort for them to implement. And so all in all, I think it's a cool idea, but I definitely would not expect this anytime in the near future for Siege. The next question is, how do you feel about recons in Battlefield 5? They feel incredibly weak. I don't know if I would agree with that. I realize a lot of people loved the sweet spot mechanic from Battlefield 1, but me personally, that just made the recon a little bit too powerful back in the day. People would just constantly one-shot you left, right, and center because of that mechanic, and it didn't require you to have the precision that basically every other past Battlefield game required. This system feels more like Battlefield 4, which I thought was pretty well balanced. I think one of the biggest issues with the recon class right now is that some of their weapons just simply don't do enough damage, and I will agree they could probably use a buff in this capacity, so I realize I'm kind of contradicting what I just said. Sometimes if you hit a medic in the body and then you get another consecutive shot off, because they instantaneously hit their heal button, they were able to heal a little bit, get past the point where you're able to take them out with that second shot, so it requires 3 shots back to back to take them out from 100% to 0. That is a problem. A lot of people were making valid complaints like, why am I playing as this class when other classes can consistently 3-shot and they don't have a slow firing weapon that I'm having to use? And that's a completely valid concern. Thankfully, in this upcoming December 4th patch, I believe DICE is addressing this. The weapons that weren't doing enough damage are getting a little bit of bump up so that this shouldn't be an issue, and so hopefully after that, it will no longer be a problem. I think the reason why I believe that recons are in a good place right now is because of the attrition system. If you're hitting someone, especially if you have the specialist perk where it spots that player that you hit as the recon, not only are they spotted forever everyone on your team. You know exactly where they are because, of course, they're spotted. And then all it requires is that one extra shot to take them down. And because you can't regenerate your health very quickly, especially after you do use that one med kit, you're in a very vulnerable position, even if that recon isn't able to successfully take you down directly after that. And so in general, while I do agree that they're nowhere near as powerful as their Battlefield 1 counterparts, I don't think that they need any massive buffs. There are a lot of people playing as this class, and for good reason, because I really do think that they're in a decent place, but of course that is just my 2 cents. But yeah guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you think that Rainbow Six Siege should go free to play? Do you not think that's necessary whatsoever? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.